Hey, it's late. Kind of. It's summer here in Seattle. So the sun just finally went down. I was watching one of my dear friend, Julie's live stream, and have been reading different comments and responding to things in my group and kind of looking back over my day. So I thought I'd jump on because I didn't have time earlier. Having a visitor means that I have to kind of be a little more flexible and fluid with my schedule. And we've been trying to do stuff at night. And it's so hot right now. So there's no sleeping at the moment. And excuse me, but we went to the lake, so I have no makeup on. I feel really kind of dry. My face, my everything feels kind of dry. But just watching, hi Janine, just watching Julie's live stream, I thought, it gave me some good ideas because it's a theme that keeps coming up today, specifically today, from the beginning of the morning through one of my coaching calls today, and then watching Julie's live stream. So if any of you are in Burning Gold, if you would do me a large like favor and share it into the group that I am live, because I'm on my phone and I can't. I have to I don't know if I can show you guys this. I have to get up for this. I'm wearing one of the Sarcastic Queen shirts. I'm a magical unicorn. And I actually had to readjust after I ordered this t-shirt, this tank top, which I love, super soft, but I had to raise the text, which is why I ordered a sample to make sure it was lined up properly. But I love the shirt. I love how soft it is. It's a racerback tee. So if you guys want a t-shirt, tank top that's really comfortable and it's great for throwing over your bathing suit and says, I'm a magical unicorn, go to Sarcastic Queen and get one for yourself. And I will warn you guys, it's dark. Let's see if my reading glasses will work. From Julie to me. I know it was Julie's live stream that made me think I should come on and just kind of share some things with you, because a couple of people have been asking me different things about, my path, my journey. And a lot of times when I do live streams during the day, there's all these big messages that I feel like I have to deliver because Spirit's pushing on me. And tonight, because the theme from this morning, unexpectedly, I joined a mastermind kind of coaching thing this morning. And it was unexpected, like very last minute, 5 minutes before it went live, I went and joined it for business. And one of the things we were talking about is being really clear on your story, which I'm really clear on what brought me here, but I guess I haven't really articulated it in a brief way for people. I did clarify it today, and if you noticed, I changed some things on my Facebook page. I even changed my name on my Facebook page, so I'm not BVision1 anymore. On my business page, I'm Fierce Slayer Bernadette, both on Instagram and on Facebook. Why I'm telling you that, I don't know. But if you guys are like, hey, you changed your name, I did. But Julie's live stream and the conversation we had this morning about the story and a coaching call I did earlier today with business really kind of keeps coming up with the same theme. How did you get through a lot of the stuff, the healing and where you are now and where I am now? I mean, what you guys see now is years and years of developing my gifts, healing my childhood, going through various relationships and traumas and dramas, raising children that even more trauma was added on top, and more drama and divorce and heartbreak and financial stuff. I mean, I wasn't always, this peaceful, not even close. I was always I always could just make people believe I was okay, right? But I wasn't always okay. You guys know what I mean? Like, you put on a happy face and everyone thinks, oh yeah, they got it together. Everyone always thought I had it together. Way more than I did. Like, people could see things in me that I never saw. Like, oh, you're so strong. And I'm talking back in my 20s and early 30s. People saw something in me and I never understood it until I actually began to go through my childhood wounds, my issues with my mother, big, big issues. You know, when you are, hi Cindy, when you have a mother who is incapable of loving you, and it wasn't that she was incapable of loving both, like my brother and sister, and then me. I'm the youngest of three. I was the unexpected last one, and the unwanted, truly unwanted one. But because of the Catholic Church, my mom felt like she had to have me. I'm not like saying she shouldn't have. I don't know. I think there's no mistakes, but she didn't want to have me. My dad was in Vietnam, came back on liberty, and got her pregnant, went back to Vietnam. So, you know, I was an added pressure that she did not want. She was not psychologically well when she had me. So I am literally the product of like the last part of her marriage. There are no baby pictures of me, literally no baby pictures of me. I think the first pictures that there are of me is when I was like 5 years old. So when you guys tell me your stories, and you know you're looking for someone to help you, and I tell you I can because I have done it, I'm not making this crap up. Like, that is how my life began. Literally, I was born 7 days before Christmas, and my mother, the nurses tried to, and she had a C-section, the nurses tried to put me in my mother's arms. They brought me to her from the nursery in a stocking, a large Christmas stocking, and she turned to the nurses and said, "Take her back. She's not a gift." And she wouldn't hold me. If any of you have studied any kind of psychology, you know, right? Like, infants need to have cuddles and hugs and warmth and affection. And to not have that is detrimental. And it puts this, and literally in the womb, she tried to kill herself at 8 months pregnant with me. So there was a battle before I was even born. And then when I was born, it was just ingrained in me that I was not wanted. And it was always told to me that I was not wanted. And that my stepmother had to tell me in 3rd grade everything that had happened. Things that I could feel, but I didn't really know why my mother didn't love me, but I knew she did not love me. And then we had a housekeeper nanny lady that took care of us. So, because she just did not want to take care of her children. We were in the way of her singing career. And because I was the youngest, it was always falling on me. And so I always felt like I had to be perfect, but I never felt loved and I never felt lovable. And, you know, as you grow up and you become an adult, and you try to have relationships, but you have this thing of, I'm not lovable, nobody can love me. If my own mother can't love me, there's something wrong with me inherently. That's some shit you gotta get through. Just seriously get through. And, you know, it wasn't until I had my daughter at 25 that I finally knew I had to deal with this stuff. I have got to get through this stuff, because it was even more apparent to me how screwed up I was, and how sad I was, and how long I had buried that sadness by doing and producing and being perfect and looking pretty and being a people pleaser, right? To try and get people to love me. Yeah? It didn't become that apparent until I had my daughter. And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, I'm so in love with this little baby. How can a mother not love me? And then it dawned on me that what the counselors had told me in my earlier years, that it wasn't me, it was my mom. I'm like, there's something to this. Like, maybe it wasn't me. Maybe it's not me, because I'm capable of loving. Like, I love my baby, right? I gotta put my glasses on to read this. Thank you very much, Lillian. I did work through it. And here's the deal, though. Like, how did I do it? You know, I went through tearing this stuff apart. I did go through a little bit of counseling, but that never really did much for me. A couple of things counselors said to me throughout the years did help. You know, one counselor when I was 18, and when I had my suicide attempt and went to the mental hospital for 72-hour hold, coming out of that, you know, and going to counseling, the counselor said, would you want to have Like if you met your mother on the street, she treated you the way she treats you now and has your whole life, like, would you go to lunch with her? I'm like, oh, hell no. No. And she said, then why do you feel like you have to, Bernadette? I was like, good question. She goes, you don't have to. I give you permission not to. And from that point forward, I felt empowered. But I didn't really heal it until I had my daughter. And it was not an instantaneous healing. It was layer upon layer upon layer that got me through it. On top of that, additionally, when I was little, I had gifts. And it was expressing those gifts and talking to spirits and angels and knowing things. It was very taboo in our household, even though my mother had been to tarot card readers, she had been to psychics, and my grandmother, my father's mother, was one, which nobody told me. It was forbidden in our household. It was looked upon as something very bad, especially when my mom became a born-again Christian. She's like, oh, I had to rebuke all the witchcraft. Being a psychic is not witchcraft, but that is the belief system. So I had all of those competing things too. And someone in Burning Gold was asking me a couple weeks ago about my journey to become a psychic. Hi, Molly. And it's not been an easy path. And I think if you guys would understand, and I want you to understand this, almost every single light worker that I know, psychic, healer, light worker, light bringer, and I don't mean just psychics, period, or healers, period, just people who are in the light, we've not had easy lives. Part of that is to develop your compassion, your empathy, right? Empaths, not easy lives. And while we all go through different experiences and all go through different traumas and dramas and lessons and karmas and, whatever, I really believe that it's because in order to understand the darkness and bring light to it, we have to walk through it. Like, we have to experience it. You can't read a book and really you can react to the story momentarily, but it's not going to change you. It's not going to shape you the way going through it on your own does. And when I realized that, when I accepted that, when I really started to look at, wow, because honestly, being one of 3 children and seeing my brother and sister and looking at how the 3 of us turned out very differently, although we went through the same things for the most part, not all of the same, right? Each one of us had our own interesting challenges with our parents. We all turned out very different. Like, I turned out remarkably different. I'm kind of the black sheep. My brother and sister are close, and I'm not with them. And I'm not, I'm close with my dad, and they're not really close with our dad. I mean, he lives with me, right? But I had to forgive a lot of stuff with my dad, too, because he was not perfect. He was kind of a jerk when I was growing up. He was a big jerk, and he drank a lot and was really selfish and thoughtless and a single guy trying to raise a teenage kid, right? So, I mean, we've all gone through it, but I look back and I always knew he did the best he could with what he knew, and so did she. They just didn't happen to know shit. They didn't know anything. They didn't know themselves. They were completely disconnected. So am I going to hold this anger and let these wounds eat me up and make me be resentful and disconnect me from God and my heart and my higher self? Or am I just going to forgive it and move on? And that's what I did. I forgave it and I moved on. But it didn't happen overnight, and I don't want you guys to think that it can. Did you ever talk to your dad about the past? Many times. And what's interesting, because when my dad moved in with me, a lot of things came out. That's when I found out when I was, this was let's see, Bella's 17. She was 2 when he moved in. So that was 15 years ago. It was only 15 years ago that I found out that his mother was a healer and a psychic. And she died when I was 6 months old. She came to visit. She had cancer, colon cancer, came to visit and basically say her goodbyes, and then went back to Hawaii, and she passed. So I never met her, not in a conscious state. Apparently she passed her cloak to me. Thanks, Grandma. But I did meet her since then. And that had just the conversations between me and my dad about things I knew, and bringing through messages from her, channeling stuff, mediumship wise for my grandmother, opened up huge conversations. And then we talked about a lot of stuff that happened when I was a kid. He didn't know from my mother, because he was gone. He was a drill instructor in San Diego, and we lived in Santa Ana when I was little. He didn't know. He didn't know what happened with my stepmother. I mean, he didn't know a lot of stuff. He was gone. Typical dad in the 60s and 70s, right? Like, they went to work. That's what they did. They didn't know anything else. So, completely could relate with, parents. Well, and the thing is, like, I think I'm a fairly good parent now. But I wasn't a great parent when I was 25, 26, 27. I was still going through my wounding. I was still highly reactive and very triggered. I went through deep depression because I had to go through the trauma of my daughter. And then she had PTSD out of it. And I didn't know how to handle any of that. It was Brindy's need for someone to heal her, like to hold space for her. And I didn't heal her. She's still not completely healed, but I had to at least not. There were times I wanted to quit being a mom. There are times I wanted to give up, that I wasn't good enough for that either, because it was so out of my toolbox. So what did I do? I learned the tools, right? But that took years too. Like, I'm not kidding when I tell you guys, the result of what I am now, who I am now, what you see now, came from hours and hours, thousands, hundreds of thousands of hours of study, of like ripping my life apart and analyzing the living hell out of it, and bearing my soul to God and a notebook and just really like everything I could get my hands on, and dissecting it all. I know you live in Santa Ana. It's so funny too. This is so funny. The street we lived on, and I was 5 when they sold the house. I was about 5 years old, and I still know the address. And you guys will love this. 222 Echo Street. That was the street we lived on, and that was the house number. Hi, Anita from the UK. Isn't that funny? That was the house that we lived at when I was born, 222 Echo Street. The master number. Anywho, part of the reason I'm sharing this with you is because, it is this thing, we all want instantaneous healing. Wouldn't that be great? The availability of learning alternative healing modalities, tools, and spiritual practices to help you heal, doing things like tapping, taking classes like Charm Life and Soul Fest, and learning about being an empath. That stuff wasn't around when I was younger. I mean, I'm 52. I'm going to be 53 this year. And I'm still working through stuff. I still have layers that are there. Thank God they're not deep, or maybe they are. I don't know. They come up every now and then. And I've worked through so much of it. But there were years there that I was a bloody flippin' mess, right? You guys, I see you guys in Burning Gold, and you're like, I'm in tears. I can't control it. What's going on? So emotional. I had years and years like that. I had a period when I made the mistake of praying, and Brindy was like a year old, and I was studying greatly, and my visions had opened up, and I accepted the fact that I had gifts, and I was talking to the angels every day, talking to spirit, and really developing, because I had to, because there was a demonic activity, and I had to learn how to do spiritual warfare. And that's what started the whole thing of stop running from your damn gifts, girlfriend. Like, this stuff is in your life. Do something about it. We're going to teach you. So Brindy was like a year old, and I prayed, and I just said, God, I just want to feel what you feel. I just want to feel what you feel without knowing what the hell. And I prayed for patience. Patience, empathy, and compassion. 6 months. 6 months I went through. And every time I'd speak to somebody, every time I went to the flippin' store, every time I went out, I would end up just a bloody mess from the amount of emotions I was picking up. And I was like, this is what you feel? And in reality, what it was is, I mean, God is in each one of us. And so, you know, if God in you is happy, that's what I felt. And if God in you was terrified or sad, that's what I felt. And every time I went outside of my house, I was a bloody freaking mess. And then they reminded me that I prayed that. And I'm like, take it. I take it back. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to hear it. Hi, Sharon. 53 like you. Yay. I don't know if that's why. You know, this is a great time of awakening. Look at the blessings I've brought into many people's lives. Yeah, but it wasn't, you know, yeah, and I get that. I've helped a lot of people. I mean, literally, I stopped counting after 35,000 a couple of years ago, how many sessions I've done for people, right, across the world. Like, I've been at this for close to 20 years now. So, and then I've done a lot of sessions. I've had a lot of clients, and I am grateful. But with each client, even from the day I started, I've learned, I've grown because of clients' stuff that they go through, right? Like everything you guys go through that I help you with, I learn, I grow, I evolve, and so do our guides. I don't know if you guys realize this, like as we grow, as we evolve, so do our guides, so do those on the other side. The universe expands as we expand. And as we heal, the universe gets bigger and holds more space for love and creates new things. So each one of us, as we grow, as we expand, as we learn, the entire universe is expanding. So I'm grateful that I get to do this, but I just want to really like be very clear about this. It didn't happen overnight, y'all. Like Charm Life and what I teach you guys, that whole program came about from probably close to 3 years straight of trying really hard to get through Brindy's trauma of her molest, right? I mean, you have a 3-year-old and she's in dire straits and having night terrors, and now it brings up all of the stuff that you went through as a kid, all the abuse, and now you've got to get it together and heal that crap so you can hold it together to be a mother to your daughter who's like a huge mess, and protect her now. And then all these men issues come up and all these parental issues come up, and you know, that was a horrific thing that happened. But I'm not sad that it happened. I had to heal and forgive all of that too. I had to forgive my ex-husband, who was the one who did that stuff to her, you know. And I mean, people in my family wanted to kill him. I had people telling me, I'll take a contract out on him. Like, do you want me to take care of this, Bernadette? I'll take care of it. I'm like, whoa. I mean, there was a moment there I was like, hell yeah, like, you go get him. And then the spirit part of me was like, no. There's a purpose for everything, and you don't understand why this is happening now, and you may never understand while you're alive all of the reason this happened now. But you know what? Had that not happened, I wouldn't have become an expert at helping people heal sexual trauma. I would not have studied my ass off understanding brain trauma and understanding like neuropathy when it comes to psychological trauma. Like, but you couldn't have told me that at 28 years old, that's what I was going to be doing with my life in a couple of years. So even that, right? Like, I was a bloody mess, and yet I just went into service. And to this day, that's what I do. So one of the things I wanted to be sure I share with you guys tonight, because I feel like I'm rambling, is that it does take time, and there's layers upon layers, and we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be the best version of ourselves in any given moment. So all I can do right now is be the best version of me, and you can be the best version of you. And you know, there's a question that keeps coming up from spirit every time I want to question something I'm thinking or something I'm doing, and the question spirit keeps asking me is, what if you're already perfect? What if in this moment you are everything you need to be? What if there's nothing more to do or to be? What if exactly as you feel and how you're reacting is perfect? It takes all the pressure off. It's like, well, if it's perfect, then hell, I'm just going to go with that. And then it frees me to move on. the one thing that I know for me that helped me get through a lot of my depression and my anxiety when I was suffering, and actually was on antidepressants for about 6 months. And I was on anti-anxieties, Ativan, because of Brindy's trauma. Like I couldn't make it through 5 minutes without breaking into tears. Everything was just, my whole entire system was in shock, right? Because of the trauma. And that went on for a good year. But when I finally was able to process through it after I was beyond the shock and I got to the acceptance and the grieving came to an end, and I needed to get through it now and get through the belief systems that were triggered through all of it, and the fear of every imaginable person on the planet, and anger at men. I had to sit and go through every part of it and feel it. And when I felt it, I literally, and the reason I'm sharing this is because something Julie said, and I shared on her live stream, like, I set a timer. I literally, Spirit had me. If you're feeling this and you're angry, Bernadette, fine. Feel it. Feel it deep and feel it good and express it all out. Go lay on your bed, kick and scream and act like a freaking toddler. Set a timer. 15, 20 minutes. Go into it deeply. But when that timer goes off, get up and move on. Right? Don't dwell in it. Don't get stuck in it. Don't analyze it anymore, because you can get lost in analysis paralysis, and you can get lost in the emotional turmoil of any kind of trauma. And if you get lost there, you can be there for days and weeks and years. And so set a time limit. You want to give yourself a week to grieve something? Fine, do it. Many of you have asked me, like, how the hell am I so strong? Because I use that to this day. Even when it comes to breakups and disappointments and letdowns with relationships, like, I can bounce like Tigger now when it comes to a relationship. Mainly because I like my life and I like who I am now. So when I'm in a relationship, I never worry about them leaving. If you leave, what's going to change? My life was good before I met you. It'll be just as good when you leave. If you're not the right person, I will manifest somebody 100 times better. There's nothing to be sad about. Most of the time, the heartbreaks we endure from a relationship ending is because of the expectations and the dream that we put around what that relationship is going to be. And that's why people get very, very sad and stuck when their relationships end. But for me, I like my life. I like my life without a partner. So when a partner comes in, great. I'll like it with you as long as you're healthy. But if you're going to leave, my life just goes back to being what it was before, which was pretty friggin' good, right? So why am I going to cry about it? I'll cry about it for a little bit, but then set the timer and move on. Like, I'm not going to get sucked into that. And it's the same way with disappointments, fights with my kids. Times when I'm triggered, times when I look at something and I think, I can't see God in that. I can't see God in that. I'm trying to see God in that, but I can't see God in that. And there's some things in life that I get there with. When I get there, though, I will let myself feel it. And then time's up. Get up. Let's go feel something else. I'm going to go do something else. And sometimes that means I will literally, when I'm going through something very emotional and I'm having a breakdown of some sort or processing through something, memory comes up that I wasn't aware of, a layer comes up I got to deal with, timer's over, get up and go do something. Guess what I end up doing? That's when I go and clean my toilets. That's when I go and scrub my sinks. That's when I go and take the little screen at the bottom of my shower off and clean all the shit out of the bottom of the shower. The hair, the gunk, the slime. That's when I deep clean, because it is symbolic, right? For me, it's become a symbolic act of I'm cleaning. I'm cleaning on all of this data. I'm cleaning on all of these memories, on all of the meaning I gave this, on all of the garbage that I've let into my system. I'm physically cleaning it, and the act of doing so engages me physically enough that even if my mind still wants to circle it, I just try very hard to be conscious of what I'm doing, every little tiny inch of what I'm cleaning. And pretty soon, that thing that I was so desperately attached to feeling dissipates. So that's my message to you guys. Keep going. Don't give up. Whatever tools, whoever you resonate with that, you think can help you, and make sure it's someone that you know is authentic. They're not blowing smoke up your ass. I've had a lot of coaches and counselors like that in my life too. They're like, I'm the way, the truth, the light. It's like, no, you're not. Right? We all got to resonate with somebody. Oh, Lord. So yeah, one day at a time. And you'll look back like I do right now at 52 and go, girlfriend, you've seen some shit. You felt some stuff. You've ridden through some stuff. You've had some great adventures. And you've had high times and low times and every time in between. Would you trade it in for anything? Hell no. No, I'm still learning. I'm still growing. My body's still changing. My mind is still expanding. My heart capacity is still expanding. So, we just keep going. We're here for a reason. See, I knew there was a reason I was coming on at 10:10. It was 10:10 when Spirit said, go ahead, jump on, just have a conversation. And some of you are new to following me, so you haven't heard all of my story, right? Like, and there's no way, which is why I wrote a book, which is still in edits, but there's no way I could tell you guys all of my story. There's been so much. My cousin Bernie, who's on right now, aloha Bernie from Hawaii, spent some time with me. We met several years ago. It was like 2012. We finally met. And she needed some help, and she came to stay with me, and we didn't know each other before then. And even her, and we talk all the time, she doesn't even know all the stories. Sometimes I share stuff with her to help her get her through some things. And she's like, I've never heard that one. It's like, yeah, you have no idea the craziness of my life. It's insane, but I got through it. I've been seeing 1010. Yay. 1010's a good number. Manifestation, creation. Yeah. So, anywho, that I wanted to really because the story thing's been ongoing since this morning, right? Like trying to really kind of articulate that with what it is I do so that people can read just like a sentence or two about me. And when they ask me, what do you do? There's so much that I do. And it really is the bottom line of the bottom line. I mean, yes, I work with individuals and I teach group programs and I counsel and coach in group sessions and private sessions, but I also do business stuff. And the bottom line is no BS. I use my gifts, right, to cut through all of the BS. And the bottom line is I'm a fear slayer that allows you, once you get beyond your fears, I help you create that confidence in your life that you're looking for. Create that space of enoughness in your life that will allow the flow, the connection to spirit and prosperity to reign in all areas of your life. That's what I do. And it had to, like we were going over our stories today, we were talking about it this morning in this mastermind, and I was like, so much easier than trying to give myself a freaking title. So yeah. That's where that came from. And then Julie was talking about just going through some triggers and stuff, and I thought, I'll share that with you guys because some of you are new to following me. So many facets of how I connect with others. It's difficult to specify. I know. It's been a challenge for me. The fear slayer, the jackass whisperer, the queen of the jackasses. At least I can laugh at myself. I mean, really, it's funny too because most of the time, and this is something I'm super, super, I there was a time that I remember when I was in the midst of the darkest of the darkest of the nights of my soul, right? The dark night of the soul, like one of the darkest nights. I came across a journal when I was writing stuff for my book and gathering stuff. I had years and years of journals, and I came across one section where I had written a bunch of poetry and lyrics, and because I used to be a songwriter, a budding songwriter, but I remember everything that came out of me was dark and it's heartache and this world sucks. But I remember thinking back then, am I ever gonna feel okay? Like, I wasn't even striving for freaking happy. I was just like, I just want to feel okay. I just don't want to feel like I have a shadow over the top of me. I don't need to be happy. Just somebody take that shitty shadow away. I could not have predicted back then, 20 something years ago, that I would be here now and be able to go through things and cry my eyes out and be beating myself up or listening to the conversation of my very loud, obnoxious ego, right? In 15 minutes, turn around and be laughing and be able to get up and keep moving and then have a win. Like, seriously. Or that I'd be so much beyond my problems. Back then, I never thought I'd be so far beyond the heartache of my childhood and all the experiences of being let down and hurt and abuse and physical pain. I never thought that I would be here. Like, and 20 years, this year's my 20-year anniversary with work. Like, I've been at this job and running this business for 20 years at the end of this year. It's crazy to me. Like, it is absolutely positively crazy to me that I've been doing this for 20 years. Like, seriously. I didn't think back then I'd get through another year. We have to laugh. We have to be okay with laughing at ourselves. I think that we take things too seriously. You guys remember, see, I have a granddaughter who's a great reminder to me of how remarkable children and resilient children are, right? They will cry. They will be angry. They will throw a fit. The world is coming to an end because they don't get what they want or because you say something that hurts their feelings. Like, they will be in tears and like screaming like someone is killing them. And 20 minutes later, a game starts to happen or some fun. They're like, it never happened. And the Bible says to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must do so like a child. And I pay attention to that stuff with kids, right? Because that's how we need to be. Like, we just need to be able to shift modes and get beyond it and be like, oh no, I'm not, because like, I'll ask Addie, well, you were just crying like 15 minutes ago. Are you like, I don't know, Carrie? Like, are you the exorcist child? Like, what? How is that so serious? And she's like, I'm over it, Grandma. Like, good for you. We all need to be more like children where it's just like flip the switch and we're okay. Like that, if there's anything that I can teach you guys about what I've learned this many years around the sun, it's that. Be like that. Enjoy yourself. Be okay crying, but end it and get on with it. Like, go laugh about something. If you got to laugh at yourself, do so. I don't know how many times I've had to laugh at myself at stupid ideas and stupid what people consider failures. Disconnect is rampant. Aw, thanks, Bernie. I appreciate that. Cousin of mine, my long lost cousin that I never knew I had, and now we're so close, and I love it. And I love that this girl knows, because she's seen me at some of my low times and struggles through, child custody issues and men, stupid shit, struggles that I go through with my ego, and I'm pretty honest with her about everything too. So she can tell you whether I'm real or not. She's been in my house. She came to stay with me for a month and walked her through her stuff. So there's that, The one thing you guys when I do finally get around to getting some live stuff done, the one thing you guys will, like, I guarantee you, I'm the same in person as I am on live stream. There ain't nothing. Like, maybe in person I'd probably have a little more makeup on. I have no makeup on right now. But maybe not, because I just basically do what I do and how I feel. I think we all need to live like that. Just do you. Do whatever makes you feel good. So, yeah. Anyhow, that was it. I just wanted to share a little bit of that. I'll share some more with you guys ongoing of how I developed my psychic gifts, how I learned how to be an empath, better controlled, how to really trust in the messages that I get, and you know, that took work too. Seriously, it's one thing to be led by spirit in your own life and jump off a cliff and you know, jump into things like spirit says, hey, you're moving to Colorado and your whole life's in San Diego and you have a thriving business and they tell you shut it down, you're leaving. Like, that's one thing. That affects your life. But to have other people's lives in your hand and you know that whatever you tell them, they're taking very seriously, a whole other story of learning how to trust spirit. And there's that place where for those of you who really do want to develop your gifts, and that is one of the things, like self-doubt, ego shuts down that connection like that I'll share with you guys in upcoming live streams, because it's not an easy walk either, right? There are times when we definitely, even me to this day, and I've done it for many years, have had long talks to spirit, and I'm like, I'm going back to the world. I'm gonna go back to being asleep. It was easier to have a corporate job and just go about my life and go to happy hour. Like, this is not easy to be on all the time, to be connected all the time, to feel like, you know, God's watching every step I make all the time. And I have to watch it. I gotta be on it. It's morning where you are. Where are you, Kelly? I know a lot of you are in the UK and Australia and New Zealand. I mean, I got people all over that follow me, which is always so cool to know where you guys are. And you'll probably tell me and then I'll forget. So forgive me if I forget. I have enough on my brain. I don't have much space. So anyways, but yeah, if you guys are in Burning Gold and there's things that you know, you're like, I wonder if Bernadette's ever been through this. Just ask. Like, just ask. And chances are, if I haven't been through it, I've worked someone through it. And I've been through a lot, right? Like, so I want to offer that to you guys too, that you actually do start the conversation with me. So yeah. Where are you, Kelly? Like, what country? Look at all those hearts. Y'all are awesome. I love you. So I hope you guys get some sleep tonight. I'm not tired, and it's late. Kansas? Oh, cool. God, you're up late too, because I'm Pacific time, and it's like 10. Hi, Cindy. Wow. Kansas. Well, cool. So as we build to the full moon in Sagittarius, my sun sign, on Monday, I know this one's a powerful, big, energetic full moon, right? Sages are ruled by Jupiter. Sages are optimistic. We're kind of hyperactive. We just go in a million directions at once. It's the archer. We take all of our arrows and we don't just fire off one. We fire off 10. Like, we're the Energizer bunnies, right? So think that with a full moon, it's going to be a big one. So if you can't sleep, it's just, it is what it is. You know, Sagittarius is the sign of the truth seeker, right? Like, we go on these missions to go find truth, and we don't like putting up with BS. It's your oldest birthday. Ah, very cool. Happy birthday to him. Moments of wishing I could live in ignorance, avoid feeling or caring, sometimes envy those who live in disconnect. And I shake ego and realize that's not where it's at. You know, those moments of wanting to just tune out and go back to sleep, they don't last long. Because then I remember, like, what I'm so irritated with is people that are kind of like way tuned out and disconnected. Like, I sit there and I think, how can you be that stupid? How could you be that numb? How could you be that uncaring? And to go there, like, disconnected, like, you'd have to go there too. And then I'd be one of the people that I, like, have a hard time having compassion for. So there's no way this far onto the path, it would take amnesia, like a coma, for me to just forget everything that I've been through and everything that I know, right? But there are times when my ego does get a hold of me. It's been a while, but sometimes, things just, they wear down on me, and I think, and then I go into victim mode. It's been a long time, come to think of it. I don't even know the last time, but there are times, I'll fall into victim mode and I'll think, Spirit, what the hell? All these things I do for people, and I do a lot. Like, what the hell? Yeah, and all these people get away with all it. I'm just going to go join them. I don't, but I think about it and I throw a fit, and I do the same thing there. The next morning, if it lasts that long, it'll only go until I go to sleep and wake back up, and then I'm like, okay, what are we doing today? Where are you taking me today, God? Like, where are we headed? I know, had a little lapse, thanks for the break. We all go through that. It's not about being, like, perceived as perfect. It's every moment we are perfect in whatever we are feeling and being and doing. Truly, as long as we are doing it with intention and, it's creating growth. Even my biggest temper tantrums and fits have created big, huge breakthroughs. So don't judge your tears. Don't judge your anger. Don't judge your mishaps. Don't judge your setbacks, your trials, your challenges. Don't judge them as wrong. If you never screwed anything up, it's because you're sitting in a corner sucking your thumb and not living life. Like, if you're out there living life and learning and growing, shit, you're going to mess stuff up. Like, that's okay. What's not okay is never screwing up because you're not even trying anything new. Like, that is not a life well lived. That's a life of just barely existing. So to me, the more things I can screw up, the more I learn what does and doesn't work, what does feel good, what doesn't feel good. It's not about perfection. It's about experience. Like, up in the ethers, before we came down into human form, we did not come here to be perfect. We came here to have an experience. You were already perfect. And you're like, oh, let me jump into the third dimension, the messiest planet in the whole galaxy, and the densest freaking dimension that's available. Let me jump in there and see if I can forget who I am and then remember again. You're gonna screw it up. We came here to experience screwing things up, to remember that you really can't screw it up, right? We came here to feel all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. We came here to fall in love, to fall in lust, to fall on our faces, to get back up, right? To have joy, to have tears. Oh my God. Here's, Spirit's funny. Those of you who are close to my age will remember this song. What was it? We have joy, we have, how did it go? It's like at the back of my mind. One of you that's from the 70s will remember that song. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. Da, 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 da. Do you guys, who knows that song? Janine? Help me out, sister. Oh God, what was it called? I think it was like Seasons in the Sun. Something like that. It was from the 70s. That song just started. I had it on an LP. For those of you who don't know, that was a little record. A vinyl. I used to have that when I was at, like, God, I think 5th grade. I had that on an LP. Do you guys know that song? We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, didn't laugh and we cried. Yeah. The fun I get to have with Spirit. Anywho, yeah, so now I'm just getting stupid. So I'm going to jump off here. But one last parting word of advice to finish this off, okay? Yes, I'm confident. Yes, I'm self-assured. And yes, I have a life of peace and joy and amazement in every everything I do. Even when I'm bored, I'm actually amazed at what my ego likes to play with, which is usually food. When I'm bored, I usually like all of a sudden feel like I need to eat something to fill that gap. I'm getting better about that. However, you know, through all of everything, I'm here now. And it didn't come without work and sacrifice and intention and being on top of my ego. It took tons of work and study and self-study and self-examination and psychology books and spiritual books. Like, it took a lot to get here. God, I'm glad I'm here. And I'm still studying and I'm still growing and I'm still self-expressing and self-examining and all of those things. It's a nonstop thing that we have to do if we want to continue to evolve. So my message to you is don't ever give up. It is well worth it. When you can reach a place where no matter what happens, you got it together and life is good and you can love yourself no matter what you do and do not do, and you can love everybody else no matter what they do and do not do, it's a good life. Like, I could die tonight and be happy. I could die tonight and be like, good job. Yeah, cool. And I want you all to get that. I want you to all have that kind of peace and that kind of like, those kind of tools that will, even when you slip out, right, and slide in the mud and fall in the ditch, you can get yourself back out like that. That's why I teach Charm Life. That's why I stick with it. No matter how many times I wanted to quit, that's why I stick with it. So stick with it, kids. I love you guys. I will see you later.